So I'm going to oppose this, but hopefully we can find a way to work together. We have 2 bills ready to go we could pass today, but with this bill, we are going to object to this one.
Mr. President. Mr. President.
Is the senator from Wisconsin?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. I'm not quite sure what planet the senator from Michigan comes from, but here in planet Earth, when you read the actual language of the bill, none of these FANA provisions exist in there. But I will go through those point by point before we call for the final vote. Right now, I think Senator from Nebraska has a few points he wants to make.
Senator from Nebraska.
Great. Thank you, Mr. President. Earlier today, we heard about an offer from the minority leader. It shows just how unserious he and the Democrats are. That offer is full of horse hockey. It has things in it that Republicans cannot accept, and he knows it. And my colleague from Michigan, Democrat from Michigan, was just talking about power, because this is what it's about. He mentioned power. A number of other folks have talked about leverage. They need to have this shutdown for leverage. A number of Democrats have said this. But what I'm here today is to talk about people, not leverage, not power, people, air traffic controllers. These are letters that I have received from air traffic controllers, handwritten letters, that are talking about what they are going through right now because of the minority leader's shutdown. Let me just read you some of these. My wife suffers from a chronic autoimmune disease that without her medication would cripple her. Our monthly copay for her specialty medication is $2,800 a month. We have less than 2 weeks before her next round of medication is due. Our situation is not sustainable, even with pulling money from our savings. That from one of our air traffic controllers in Nebraska. Here's another one. Each shutdown gets harder than the last. The mental stress of the unknown gets harder each time. With my growing family and medical bills for my family, it gets harder every time. Both my children have neurological disorders that require constant monitoring and medical care. I take pride in my job and the service we provide here at Omaha Approach Control. As a patriot and a veteran, I take my federal oath seriously. I will always continue to do my job and keep the skies safe and expeditious. Or here's another one. Myself and my family, to include my 3-year-old daughter, are struggling to make ends meet. I now have to decide between putting food on the table, paying my mortgage, paying my car note, and many other things I need to survive. Are the Democrats deaf? Do they not hear from the people that are putting in these situations? This is their shutdown. This is their Biden budget they're not voting for. They voted for this 4 times over the last 19 months, and now they won't because their far left wing tells them not to. We have patriots here who are suffering. Why don't they show some of the courage that these people are and stand up to their far left wing and vote for this bill so that at least the people who are working can get paid? Is that so much to ask? That we pay the people who are actually trying to keep the skies safe? The Democrat staffer was earlier quoted as saying, we're going to do this till planes start falling from the sky. Well, folks, we already heard that the FAA is going to cut back 10% this week on the number of flights because of safety concerns. But it's the people that are the air traffic controllers and our law enforcement and everybody else who is working in a federal job that is not getting paid are paying the price for the minority leader shutdown. Thank you, Mr. President. You yield to my colleague from Wisconsin.
Senator from Wisconsin.
And I appreciate the comments from Senator from Nebraska. I think the senator from Utah would also like to speak to the bill.
Mr. President, I want to commend my friend and colleague, the senator from Wisconsin, for his outstanding work on this bill, the Shutdown Fairness Act. Senator Johnson has seized on something very important here. We're surrounded by people in this very building and throughout the United States and across the globe, people who are faithfully, valiantly working for the United States government. Now, some of them are staffers in this very room, not being paid. Some of them are the police officers we greeted on our way in who are keeping the Capitol Hill complex safe. Some of them are soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, guardsmen all over the world who are serving the United States government at risk of life and limb to keep us safe. And there are countless others in different occupations who are not being paid. Why? Well, they're not being paid because our friends on the other side of the aisle are wanting to expand government yet again. They may think that this is the right message, that this is a winning message. This is not. It's not the right message. It's not a winning message, even for them, because it highlights something. It highlights the danger in putting too much trust, too many responsibilities, too many functions in the United States government. So much so that when a crisis like this emerges, and the Schumer shutdown now drags well into its second month, they see that what the American people have previously regarded as a service performed by their government to them is now being held over them to extort even more money out of them under threat of planes falling from the sky. And we're told by Democrat after Democrat on television interviews and elsewhere, well, it's okay. It's okay because this is leverage. This is our leverage. Well, what do they want to use that leverage for? They want to use it so as to paper over the failures, the abject failures of Obamacare, this law that has succeeded in doing exactly one thing: enriching large health insurance companies while making all Americans poorer. Premiums have skyrocketed, coverage has diminished, quality has completely tanked as a result. They know this, they understand this, they see premiums continuing to increase year after year after year. And so what do they want to do with it? Well, they want to spend a lot more money moving forward. Money at a time when the U.S. government is already $38 trillion in debt. Money to hide, to conceal what it is that Obamacare is doing to the American people. When in fact, what Obamacare has done is diminished the health care options that the American people have. It used to be that you could negotiate with a health insurance company and buy a health insurance policy. But Obamacare in many ways made what was once health insurance illegal. We need to make health insurance legal again. We need to allow a willing customer to pay a willing insurer for a health insurance policy, rather than an Obamacare health plan, which very often, through its Byzantine labyrinth of federal regulations, just adds to the cost and adds to the profits, the bottom line of these huge healthcare companies. So yeah, they want to take this to extort the American people in their position of vulnerability at a time when we're told planes may start falling from the sky, at a time when people's airplane tickets are being rendered valueless because a lot of these flights are not going to be able to be made, and all kinds of other problems are happening, while at the same time, our federal workforce is not being paid. These are not the right people to punish for the failures of Obamacare. Don't let them carry that burden. Don't make them do it. They didn't do this to the American people. Obamacare did. Let's fix Obamacare. Let's make it legal again to have health insurance, actual health insurance, not that sort of bastardized form of health insurance that emerged from Obamacare's endless regulations that result in diminished quality, lower coverage, and endlessly higher premiums. Mr. President, this shutdown has gone on long enough. This shutdown should come to an end, and it should come to an end by the very generous offer made by Republicans time and time and time again to continue at spending levels that until just months ago were the Democrats' own spending levels. That's not enough for them. We've got to end the madness and end the shutdown. At the very least, even if we're not to end the shutdown, we should pass Senator Johnson's bill. We should do that tonight. We should do it right now. Because regardless of what you think we ought to do with Obamacare or any other aspect of government, these workers who have now gone for some time without a paycheck, they should not be required to make this sacrifice, especially when you consider what it's for. Hiding the true cost of Obamacare. That is shameful. Again, I thank and I commend Senator Johnson and his team for putting together this legislation. I'm proud to support it. I wholeheartedly endorse it, and I plead with my colleagues to vote for it, and let's get these workers paid. They deserve nothing less. Thank you.